In this video we will show 1-hour compilation gaming video. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you enjoy it. To begin in your excursion to playing the best video games, you want simply take a gander at this extremely broad rundown we've assembled. Finding these best games reminded us exactly the way that far the world has come. You truly can get AAA quality games without spending a penny. Here are the top 10 games, let's have a look. Number 10, Raid, Shadow Legends. You can now play one of the most incredible known portable RPGs free of charge on PC. Strike's turn-based battle and crew the board require some essential reasoning, even from veterans of the class. The game highlights more than 300 legends for you to gather, each with their own details and abilities to interest, significance you'll need to change and advance your crew to capitalize on your character's assets. You can likewise take the battle online by either collaborating with different players in center, fail, strikes, or overcoming their crew fighting to acquire important prizes. Number 9, Brawlhalla. Brawlhalla, perhaps propelled by Nintendo's Super Smash Bros. Series, yet the game highlights a couple cool bends that give it exceptional flavor. This battling game allows you to knuckle up in 4-player cutthroat matches, with the object of thumping your rival off the stage to score focuses. Like Samurai Showdown, Brawlhalla is a weapons-based undertaking, so every one of the 40 warriors has an assigned arrangement of weapons they can use during a match. These weapons haphazardly downpour onto stages and supplement your moveset. Brawlhalla has a week-after-week turn of playable characters, yet you can buy you top picks involving in-game money. Surprisingly better, Brawlhalla has cross-stage play among PC and Control Center, so you'll constantly track down a match. Number 8, Genshin Impact. One of the greatest breakout hits of 2020, a sensible brief presentation for Genshin Impact could depict it as anime Breath of the Wild, yet that is a long way from the whole picture. Its 4-player battle allows you to turn between characters on the fly, utilizing their natural wizardry to pull off insane combos. During free time, you can investigate the monstrous open universe of Teyvat, climbing, floating, and swimming to open its numerous mysteries. The gacha-style way to deal with microtransactions will not be famous with everybody, except it doesn't prevent Genshin from being one of the most aggressive allowed-to-play titles on this rundown. Number 7, Eggnog Plus. Eggnog Plus, a cutthroat arcade round of immortals sword battling until the very end. Wound one another, fling and kick back your blades off of the walls and roofs, take part in pugilism, get around spike pits to make it past your timeless enemy and arrive at the most distant finish of the peculiar complex. Fling yourself victoriously, lastly, into the eggnog. Incorporates procedurally produced byte beat tunes that you can alter live, and furthermore make extra melodies. The Nidhogg games are unbelievable tomfoolery, yet if you would rather not plunk down the money to play them, Eggnog Plus is an incredible allowed-to-play elective. Like Nidhogg, Eggnog Plus sees you conflict with a rival in sword duels as you rush to the contrary side of the guide. You can involve your weapon as a shot, as well as a scuffle device. Furthermore, Eggnog Plus highlights retro-style visuals that give the game a lot of outdated appeal as you repel and push. Number 6, Doki Literature Club. Welcome to the Literature Club. It's forever been a fantasy of mine to make something uniquely great out of the things I love. Now that you're a club part, you can assist me with making that little glimpse of heaven in this charming game. Consistently is loaded with talk and fun exercises with all of my cute and interesting club individuals. Sayori, the energetic heap of daylight who values bliss the most, Natsuki, the deceivingly adorable young lady who sneaks up all of a sudden, Yuri, the hesitant and secretive one who tracks down solace in the realm of books, Monica, the head of the club. It's difficult to make sense of what makes Doki Literature Club such a phenomenal visual novel without offering what fixes things such that exceptional. It begins as a standard dating sim set in the verse club of a conventional secondary school, however develops into something undeniably more charming over the long haul, bringing about one of the most significant and high-profile instances of its type anyplace. Number 5, War Thunder. War Thunder is the most exhaustive allowed to play, cross-stage, MMO military game devoted to avionics, shielded vehicles, from the mid-20th 100 years to the most developed present-day battle units. Join now and partake in significant fights ashore, in the air, and adrift, battling with a huge number of players from everywhere the world in a consistently developing climate. In War Thunder, airplane, assault helicopters, ground powers and maritime boats team up in practical serious fights. You can browse more than 2,000 vehicles and a broad assortment of battle circumstances, large numbers of which are selective. You don't need to find a gathering of similar flying lovers on a message load up and join their virtual unit to appreciate War Thunder. You don't need to pick either authenticity or openness, all things considered. This enormously multiplayer WW2 battle game easily includes the blasts as a whole and energy that planes and tanks are equipped for creating. Not certain where to begin? Our War Thunder tips will assist with pointing your tank's cannon in the correct course. Assuming you're searching for war games that put you in a mess, then War Thunder is for you. Number 4, Blade and Soul. There are a great deal of MMORPGs to play, each with special style, battle, and legend. Edge and Soul takes you to a dreamland motivated by wuxia fiction and hand-to-hand fighting. It's loaded with prisons and attacks to vanquish, as well areas of strength for us versus player frameworks that urge you to dominate your abilities. In the event that prison creeping isn't your thing, Blade and Soul's Field offers phenomenal PvP activity to slake your cutthroat bloodthirst. Evening out is genuinely simple, as well, so it doesn't take extremely lengthy to get to max level, where the game's substance truly opens up. Sharp Edge and Soul is allowed to play, obviously, however you can alternatively buy new fighter equips, extra person openings, and different things. Number 3, Dauntless. Beast Hunter World has made an enormous basic and business influence, so it's no shock to see games that are motivated by Capcom series. Bold is one such title. Bold sets you in opposition to horrible behemoths in a dystopian dream setting. It very well may be played in single-player or multiplayer modes, with up to 4 individuals hacking at a monster's shins. Different battle classes keep the battling intriguing. As an allowed-to-play game, Dauntless won't cost you a dime. Except if you have any desire to apply a cool skin to your characters or weapons. Number 2, RuneScape. In addition to a remnant of the mid-noughties, RuneScape is as yet flourishing, with both a cutting-edge variant and an old-school elective for those of you actually craving for bygone times of pre-2007. The two games offer lots of free happy spread across their gigantic universes, however you'll gain admittance to significantly more through a paid membership. Fortunately, RuneScape makes its participations accessible with in-game money, so in the event that you're ready to sink some serious time into another MMO, this is an extraordinary method for doing as such free of charge while dominating abilities from petition to fishing, and taking on enemies from humble trolls to immense, world-finishing monsters. Number 1, Roblox. Some time ago, it could have been not difficult to discount Roblox as another blocky children game simply ripping off Minecraft. Besides the fact that those days since a long time ago elapsed have, that analysis is currently completely mistaken, as well just like a multi-billion-dollar title attracting a huge number of players consistently, Roblox is gradually turning into an inexorably regarded game improvement instrument. The most high-profile model is VVVVVV maker Terry Kavanaugh's new raid onto the stage, yet a setup of makers has been utilizing its instruments, and making a good pay from them, for a really long time. As the consideration proposed to it develops, preview and upcoming games. The initial not many months of another year are consistently terrible with new computer games. Engineers who can't fulfill the time constraint for the Christmas season frequently cut snare and shunt their rewards for so much hard work into January or February to purchase urgent time for some additional clean. In any case, I don't think I've seen anything very like the start of 2022. We're approaching the year's end as we enter the 10th month of 2022. Here are our preview and upcoming new games. Number 10, Grounded. Delivery date, September 27, 2022. Albeit in fact a game that has been playable as of now from the beyond 2 years, Grounded will at long last have its full delivery in the not-so-distant future of September. In Grounded, players assume command over contracted down youngsters, presently getting by against bugs and different dangers. The world turns out to be quite a lot more amusing to investigate on this side, however at that point crowds of monster bugs make it difficult for you to appreciate things. Thus, you need to work with your party to keep the foes under control and get by until you figure out how to bounce back to your unique size. The game is presently accessible to buy on PC preceding its full delivery, yet the game will likewise be emerging as a component of the Xbox Game Pass upon its full delivery. Number 9, Dragon Quest X, Rise of the Five Tribes Offline. Delivery date, September 15, 2022. The 10th mainline passage on the widely praised Dragon Quest series never saw a delivery beyond Japan, generally inferable from its less customary delivery type as this game was a MMORPG when it originally delivered in 2012. Yet, presently, after a decade, Dragon Quest X will have a redischarge, this time permitting players to encounter the MMORPG on PlayStation, PC, and the Nintendo Switch disconnected, alone and away from others. Tragically, this redelivery will likewise not get a Western delivery, yet we're remembering this title for our top 10 new rounds of September 2022 in order to stand out to this game and provoking Square Enix to carry this game toward the West, ultimately. Up to that point, we could need to depend on fan interpretation patches if we really have any desire to play the game. Number 8, The Diofield Chronicle. Delivery date, September 22, 2022. The Diofield Chronicle is a pristine IP coming from Square Enix, and it's likewise a spick and span assume the personality-driven strategies-based technique games. While taking a great deal of motivation from games like Fire Emblem, Final Fantasy Tactics, and Tactics Ogre, among others, the Diofield Chronicle expects to change the class by acquainting continuous system mechanics with the game. Envision playing Fire Emblem like how you'd presumably play a CRPG with a strategic interruption highlight. It's similar to that, yet with additional strategies than RPG. Up until this point, gathering for the game has been warm and positive because of the great demo that Square Enix shared for the game. Number 7, Valkyrie Elysium. Delivery date, September 29, 2022. Emerging, first on PlayStation this month, then, at that point, next, on PC in November, Valkyrie Elysium is the hard reboot of the Valkyrie Profile establishment, a restoration of an old exemplary that will unquestionably cause some disruption old fans as Square Enix takes on a trick to acquire another crowd for the off-dark establishment. Valkyrie Elysium is an activity experience pretending game that has a high spotlight on frantic, high-energy fights. Players assume command over a Valkyrie, a lady of death that are gathering Einherjars, spirits of fallen heroes that they take with them to get ready for the climactic Ragnarok. Number 6, NBA 2K23. Delivery date, September 9, 2022. Michael Jordan features the current year's entrance in NBA 2K, appropriately so as 2K23 brings out the memory of the most famous player to at any point where the number. The Michael Jordan Challenge returns in the current year's excursion, and my team is being redone to make it a lot more amicable to fans. We're extremely amped up for this title, as usual, and we anticipate the enhancements NBA 2K23 welcomes on top of the astounding NBA 2K22. What's more, thusly, this game tops our rundown of the top 10 new games of September 2022. Number 5, Steel Rising. Delivery date, September 8, 2022. Initially planned for an August 2022 delivery date, Steel Rising was rather pushed back to early September. Anyway, it's coming this month. What's truly going on with Steel Rising? Steel Rising is an activity experience game set in a substitute course of events of the French Revolution where robots exist. Players assume command over Aegis, a puzzling machine showstopper, who should defy the distraught King Louis XVI of France and his cruel mechanical armed force. Overhaul Aegis as you progress through the game with new capacities, permitting players to make their own forms from hard hitters to nimble stunt devils or as a virtuoso of the essential expressions. Investigate in other timetable Paris as you attempt to save history from the frenzy of a mech-fixated king. Number 4, Metal, Hellsinger. Delivery date, September 15, 2022. Metal, Hellsinger is a flawless cadence-based FPS. Envision playing Doom, however you need to shoot your weapons on a specific beat, and, picture this, Doom as of now has incredible music, yet Metal, Hellsinger best even that. Overflowing with fiendish adversaries, strong weapons, and extraordinary metal music, players will battle their direction through the 8 hells as they attempt to travel out for the sake of retribution. Gracious, and Troy Baker voices the game's storyteller. Discuss an eargasm. Interactivity-wise, this is as yet an able open-world experience that is at its best while you're going head-to-head against one of those aluminum-plated T-Rexes, yet you'll keep close by for the story, which thoughtfully disentangles a greater amount of the secrets waiting in this post-apocalypse. The inquiry at the middle won't ever change. Number 3, Splatoon 3. Delivery date, September 9, 2022. Splatoon is back this year with more paint and splat than any time in recent memory. That implies more salmon runs, more turf wars, and so forth. This game, basically, is more Splatoon, and Splatoon fans definitely understand what they'll get simply from that depiction. Concerning the individuals who are curious about the series, Splatoon is Nintendo's interpretation of crew-based multiplayer shooters. It's paintball yet for the most part about shooting the floor and walls beside the rivals. The game's primary mode is Turf Wars, where 2 groups of players battle to paint the field with their group's tone. The other principal game mode is Salmon Run, a helpful encounter where players should endure rushes of foe salmonids with expanding trouble, and that's only the tip of the iceberg, and more mad runs for salmonid eggs and endurance. Number 2, FIFA 23. Delivery date, September 30, 2022. The last FIFA game under the EA Sports brand will be coming out this September 2022, denoting a conclusion of an important time period for sports reenactment games, and a beginning of another one. Beginning 1 year from now, we'll be seeing 2 contending football reproduction games, the Authority FIFA title and the continuation EA Sports will make. In any case, basically during the current year, we should appreciate for one final time the EA Sports FIFA 23 experience that we love to hate to perpetually cherish. FUT, anybody? Number 1, The Last of Us Part 1. Delivery date, September 2, 2022. Delivering first on the PlayStation 5 preceding showing up on Steam in a little while, The Last of Us Part 1 is precisely the same story that made many developed people cry a very long time back. Nonetheless, it's back this month with cutting-edge includes that use upgrades and innovation since the arrival of the first. For a full rundown of that, you can look at our article here. This game is fairly polarizing as fans are glad that this game is returning with better elements and personal satisfaction upgrades, however many lament for being a costly game for what's basically a repeat of an old game. Gaming news websites. Many computer games get delivered consistently, and there's not sufficient opportunity to play them all. How are you expected to realize which games merit your time? Computer game news and surveys destinations are an effective method for staying aware of what's going on in the gaming scene and check whether the most recent deliveries merit purchasing. We've selected the best game audit and computer game news destinations on the web to assist with this. Number 5, Destructoid. Destructoid is a site that was established as a computer game-centered news web journals in March 2006 by Yanier Gonzalez, a Cuban-American illustrator and creator. In 2007 the webpage relaunched with client websites, discussions, and a group of donors. Yanir's blog was moved off the landing page for a staff-altered, multi-creator design. Like IGN, Destructoid offers free enrollment and perusers can submit off-landing page sites. Destructoid posts a normal of 50 stories per day. It was among quick-to-break stories, for example, the Nintendo Wii regulators' last plan, the Sony PlayStation Neo's cost at send-off and Halo 3's delivery date. Destructoid is parted into 6 primary segments: the homepage where editors post day-to-day news and audits, the community blogs, the videos segment which comprise of unique dramas and trailers, the chat forums, the buy-sell region where local area individuals exchange games, and the fight region where individuals can mess around against one another. From 2010 to 2013, Destructoid delivered the 2 times week-by-week, in-studio computer game news show, the Destructoid Show on Revision 3, day-to-day live video transfers like Kingdom of Foam and Mash Tactics on Twitch, and semi-standard video productions like Hey Ash Whatcha Playin', The Jimquisition, Storm's Adventures, and others on YouTube. Destructoid is an incredible all-around gaming site with a touch of everything. It distributes articles routinely, with heaps of information posts, surveys, and highlights showing up every week. This remembers refreshes for specific games, reviews of impending games, and assessment pieces. However, it's not only a gaming news site. Destructoid distributes surveys of Control Center and PC games, as well as versatile titles and even DLC. Its surveys are clear, and you can peruse Destructoid's scoring framework to comprehend how it rates games. Top off this inclusion with video content and local area discussions, and you have a strong computer games site anybody can appreciate. Number 4, Games Radar Plus. Games Radar Plus is a diversion site for computer game-related news, sees, and surveys. It is claimed by Future plc. In late 2014, Future Publishing claimed Local's Total Film, SFX, Edge, and computer and video games were converged into Games Radar, with the subsequent, extended site being renamed Games Radar Plus in November that year. Games Radar has facilitated various web-based message sheets and discussions from as soon as 1998 in its unique Future Gamer, and afterward Daily Radar manifestation, including worldwide forms like GamesRadar.it. Future Publishing's aficionado video and PC games magazines, for example, N64 magazine frequently included common publicizing for Games Radar Plus to empower support from perusers. This gaming news site that offers a good arrangement of content, Games Radar Plus gives news, surveys, highlights, involved takes a gander at new games, and the sky is the limit from there. You can see audits and guides for games on your number 1 framework, or look at the most recent news and surveys. Games Radar Plus doesn't audit the volume of games numerous different destinations do. At the hour of composing, the site's most recent cluster of surveys incorporates a couple of enormous name games, however are generally equipment surveys. This shows that the staff requires some investment and doesn't rush out surveys. In the surveys, clear pros/cons records and a synopsis of the decision make them simple to skim. Generally speaking, Games Radar Plus gives bunches of content to look at, as well as fast stories for keeping up to date with gaming news. Number 3, Game Informer. Game Informer is an American month-to-month computer game magazine including articles, news, methodology, and audits of computer games and related consoles. It appeared in August 1991 when computer game retailer Funcoland began distributing an in-house pamphlet. The distribution is presently possessed and distributed by GameStop, who purchased Funcoland in 2000. Because of this, a lot of advancement is finished coming up, which has added to the outcome of the magazine. As of June 2017, it is the 5th most well-known magazine by duplicates coursed. Beginning from the 2010s, Game Informer has progressed to a more online-based centered. Game Informer is a long-running computer game magazine that likewise has a site. Dissimilar to other gaming sites that likewise highlight content for motion pictures and TV, This one is about games, periodically covering films and TV in view of games. You'll track down news, sneak peeks of impending games, audits, and elements. It's an outdated interpretation of a games site in the overcomplicated current age, which is gladly received. A significant number of the staff are long-lasting game players, and the site has an expert vibe to it. It sums up its surveys with a number, which not all gaming locales do these days. Generally, Game Informer is a site run by individuals who love computer games, worked for players. The site doesn't survey every last game, however, what's here is amazing and there's no political rubbish to stress over. Number 2, Nintendo Life. A site where a big part of it or more is grown-ups posting and you can see what they think the upsides and negatives. In the event that the negatives are more, the upsides you will hear from it there. Nintendo requirements to get their divisions to investigate it and themselves in the mirror and truly think about their perspectives. They will have a vastly different world and be stir to the real world. As its name recommends, this is one of the most incredible gaming sites for Nintendo devotees. Nintendo Life spends significant time in covering the Nintendo Switch, 3DS, eShop, and comparative points. You'll track down audits, news, highlights, and, surprisingly, unique recordings. The aides stand apart here. They give assistance to significant games, for example, type shortcomings in Pokémon or how to detect counterfeit compositions in Animal Crossing. The website surveys downloadable eShop titles as well as standard deliveries, so there's a ton of inclusion. With a lovely local area in the discussions and remarks segments, this is a must-visit for all Nintendo fans. In the event that you're an individual of confidence, or need more data about computer games for your kids past the fundamental game age rating, you can consider the profound quality score. However, in the event that you couldn't care less about that, you can skirt directly past it yet partake in a quality survey of the game on its own benefits. This page isn't too known as some other game survey locales, yet it's straightforward about its predispositions and hasn't had concerning breaks of morals. You might see that as reviving. Number 1, GameSpot. GameSpot is an American video gaming site that gives news, audits, reviews, downloads, and other data on computer games. The site was sent off on May 1, 1996, made by Pete Deemer, Vince Brody, and John Epstein. It was bought by ZDNet, a brand which was subsequently bought by CNET Networks. CBS Interactive, which bought CNET Networks in 2008, was the past proprietor of GameSpot through 2020, while the site has been offered to Red Ventures. Notwithstanding the data delivered by GameSpot staff, the website likewise permits clients to compose their own surveys, web journals, and post on the web page's gatherings. GameSpot is a notable gaming site that merits a visit. You'll track down well-known and late news on its landing page, alongside arrangements of impending games and late audits. The site audits games, both well-known and little, on each stage. For something somewhat unique, you can likewise look at its video shows and gatherings to interface with other gamers. There are a few intermittent characteristics with its surveys, similar to the essayist referencing that they didn't play through the whole game. Along these lines, it is ideal to see a rundown of what the commentator played at the lower part of the article. Yet, in general, it's a quality asset. The above destinations are proficient distributions for game news and reviews. There are lots of assets online to peruse client-made surveys as well. Since feelings on games are emotional, you could like to peruse a few surveys from regular players notwithstanding, or rather than, proficient articles. Secrets of the games. In the age of the web, it for the most part doesn't take long for mysteries to get found out. Whole film plots are ruined before the film is even delivered, and unknown sources dish on the mysteries of everything from governmental issues to mainstream society. Gamers love to find every single piece of data about their top picks, so it is basically outside the realm of possibilities for an in-game mystery to remain concealed for long. That we're investigating some computer game mysteries that remained concealed for quite a long time at once at times. A portion of these insider facts are covered-up Easter eggs that uncover more about the plot, others are irregular errors that are probably returns to prior forms of a game. Unknown's Nathan Drake sees his karma run out, not his well-being. The Uncharted series has long filled in as a tribute to exemplary activity experience films like Indiana Jones, yet how much shots hero Nathan Drake can retain prior to surrendering to his wounds has consistently stood out a little. As senseless as the series can get, Uncharted attempts to keep a genuine world tone, so how might an apparently ordinary person have chance more than once with no genuine issue? Engadget really recognized the response on Twitter, and it changed the whole powerful behind the series. Jonathan Cooper, an artist for designer Naughty Dog, dropped the goodie that Nathan Drake is really not being taken shots by any means. Drake absolutely never takes slug harm. The red UI that shows hits is to address his karma running out. Ultimately, foes will have a reasonable chance and kill him on the off chance that he takes an adequate number of close misses. This was affirmed by Amy Hennig, the series' imaginative chief, and she expressed that the choice was made to remain more lined up with the soul and tone of the movies we were homaging. GTA 5 concealed an unusual mobile phone bomb for quite a long time. Fabulous Theft Auto 5 contains an amazing number of privileged insights and long con type secrets, and a Reddit people group of gaming detectives have pooled their assets to attempt to tackle them all. Whether Rockstar really has plans for all their Easter egg content or they very much like a playing with their fan base is dubious. However, at whatever point another mystery springs up, it creates a ruckus locally. Many shortcuts for Grand Theft Auto 5 are opened by dialing a number on your in-game cell. You can bring down your needed level, open every one of the weapons, gain power, commonplace bypasses. Nonetheless, Kotaku detailed that a cell code went concealed for quite a long time. Dialing 19993673767 will contact dark cell phones, which causes a blast over your personality's head and changes your cell's tone. Kotaku likewise composed that this code could have gone unseen since it might have been fixed in some time in the future. You can watch a video of the peculiar cheat here. You can play as Master Hand in Super Smash Bros. Skirmish. Tales have long drifted around arcades that you could play as battling game managers, assuming you met an unmistakable arrangement of necessities. Playing as Buffalo or Shao Kahn were only 50 straight amazing triumphs away, or so the murmurs said. In this way, when you begin hearing discussion about playing as Master Hand in Super Smash Bros. Scuffle, you'll likely excuse it as simply one more gossip. Not all that quick, an unusual error in Melee really does for sure permit you to assume command over the game's chief. Game Trailers is by all accounts the first to have checked the story. Its video seems to have been since brought down. This video is a reposting on an alternate channel, in spite of the fact that Kotaku composed that it showed up in the informal Smash Bros. Wiki before that. Playing as Master Hand requires split-second timing that basically befuddles the game into beginning with no person chose, which makes your personality default to the chief. Albeit the person is playable, it can't be crushed, because of Master Hand not having knockback qualities, and it will in general reason the game to error and crash. Super Mario 64's impossible coin is gathered. Super Mario 64 appears to be overflowing for error and mystery trackers to investigate. When the game was delivered in 1996, the levels were tremendous and the innovation was very cutting edge, so there will undoubtedly be unusual things springing up. One such secret was named the unimaginable coin by the Super Mario 64 local area. There is hypothesis that the coin was basically failed to remember by the creators. A little error made the coin load simply under the ground of Tiny Huge Island. It requires cautious camera control to try and find. For very nearly 20 years, the coin stayed incomprehensible to reach. In any case, YouTube client Panencoke 2012 is attributed as the first to catch the coin. In fact, They composed that they utilized a device helped hack of the game to make it happen, however that it should plausibly be possible with exact timing and heaps of training. Hancock 2012 has become an all-around legend in the Super Mario 64 local area because of accomplishments like this. Their YouTube page is loaded with top-to-bottom Mario 64 achievements, and Kotaku composes that they are additionally endeavoring to kill what the local area calls the unkillable Goomba. Cutesy platformer The Apprentice has some NSFW mysteries. It appears to be dubious that such a large number of individuals recalled The Apprentice for the Philips CDI. Most importantly, it was for the CDI. Second, it was a ridiculous little platformer highlighting splendid, silly illustrations, totally forgettable in a period loaded with comparable titles. It might come as somewhat of a shock, all things considered, that The Apprentice has codes that make the animation lady's garments tumble off. As per a previous CDI engineer, there were a few codes concealed in the game that made it past edits with no issue. Everything players need to do is input a progression of button pushes on the game over screen to execute fatalities, animalities, and nidalities against the anime ladies who show up. Indeed, they're called nidalities. A Reddit present alludes on the codes as hot coffee after the notorious Grand Theft Auto San Andreas mod. That mod opened content that was cut from the game, nonetheless, as opposed to something an engineer snuck in. Who knows whether some other off in an unexpected direction games have stowed away codes like this. Preliminaries HD aficionados sorted out a dark question. Preliminaries HD may not seem like the kind of game to conceal privileged insights for quite a while. As quick, noisy, and over-the-top as the game is, seeing little, related foundation subtleties across various levels might appear to be an inconceivability. In any case, Kotaku Australia's Fat Shady did precisely that, and he and a framework of web detectives sorted out a secret that saturates the whole game. It began with Fat Shady seeing a few awkward bits of fine art behind the scenes of specific levels. In the wake of posting discoveries of portrayals of things like the Fibonacci grouping and a portion of crafted by Leonardo da Vinci, the Trials HD people group began sorting out these various subtleties to unwind the secret. Very nearly a year after the fact, Fat Shady gathered a video that made sense of the gathering's discoveries. It is grand, no doubt. Look at it, and recall that even senseless bike games can give some serious thoughtfulness. Reward reality, Fat Shady proceeded to begin a YouTube series called Preliminaries University, and really showed up in front of an audience at E3 in 2018 to present the impending game in the series. The main computer game Easter egg required a very long time to find. As per Forbes, Atari didn't believe their software engineers should get kudos for the games they made. They were concerned that designers who made a series of hits could begin requesting eminences or even be baited away by different organizations. This hesitance reproduced the absolute first in-game Easter egg, a secret screen that only lets players know who made the game. It might seem like a long ways from the computer game privileged insights of today, however Adventure's secret screen is the primary known Easter egg. It is even where the name, Hidden Goody, comes from. IGN has a short review on the best way to find the screen in Adventure, which includes tracking down an apparently futile article, taking it to another screen, and enacting it on a particular pixel. This will take you to a screen that illuminates you that Adventure was made by Warren Robinette. Indeed, that is all there is to it. In any case, once more, this was nothing to joke about at the time it was found. First-person scholar composes that, after 9 months, a player viewed as the mystery and kept in touch with Atari about it. Chief of Atari Steve Wright, as opposed to being irritated about the mystery, was entertained and compared it to tracking down an Easter egg. This is as yet the term we use today for buried content in games. The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild has Wind Waker's Island. The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild is a game brimming with mysteries and secret subtleties, so it's a good idea that specific viewpoints are as yet turning up years after the game's delivery. John from Gamesplain calls attention to one such mystery joins Breath of the Wild back to its 2002 ancestor, the Wind Waker. Turns out that the beginning area in the Wind Waker, Outset Island, is situated completely in the southeast corner of the Guide in Wild. It's entirely clear once the likenesses begin to meet up. The greatest giveaway is the gigantic post tower, which provides you with the perspective on the whole town of Lurlin. Assuming you watch the video, he brings up numerous different associations that make clearly the town is for sure Outset Island. Gaming tutorials. Gaming tutorials are frequently taunted by individuals, particularly the terrible ones. For some purposes, an instructional exercise is viewed as driving the player into accomplishing something exhausting or hand-holding prior to getting to the great stuff. As we've discussed previously, there is a ton that goes into great instructional exercise plan. There is an extremely wide line between an instructional exercise that gives no helpful data and one that overburdens the player. We could discuss that once more, and we most likely will, however that is not the point today. No matter what the class or plan, your game necessitates an instructional exercise in light of multiple factors. 1. Getting the player prepared. I've expressed it previously, every computer game is somebody's first. You can't expect every individual who is playing your game to be an expert at the class. I realize that individuals aren't enthusiasts of constrained instructional exercise segments toward the beginning, yet that is erring regarding the matter of instructional exercise plan. The instructional exercise's occupation isn't to irritate the player. You want to get some margin to ensure that everybody playing your game is in total agreement concerning fundamental information. As we've discussed, you can do this including an organized instructional exercise to a natural one. The fact of the matter is that the instructional exercise will be somebody's initial feeling on your game, and can be the game changer regarding whether they stay close by to play. 2. Coming back to the game. What's more, going on starting there, now and again gamers will get back to a more established game out of the blue. Perhaps they need to proceed the last known point of interest, or they simply need to begin new. Having an instructional exercise accessible permits them an opportunity to get reacquainted with the guidelines of the game. One irritating point of interest is the point at which a game has an instructional exercise or starting segment, yet just allows you to see it once. This shouldn't need to be said, however don't for all time remove instructional exercise access for a player, as no one can really tell when they need to return to it. 3. The unique factors. This is the huge point. With so many computer games being delivered every day, it makes sense that somebody will actually want to attract from one game to get familiar with another. For this reason, ability-based games as a rule don't require broad instructional exercises. Whenever you've played one Dark Souls game, you can apply that to different games in the series, the equivalent with platformers and FPS. Notwithstanding, it is amazingly vital to have examples on the one-of-a-kind components of your game plan that isn't promptly being created. The explanation ought to be self-evident, assuming there are no references from different games to draw from. How is everything turning out to gain proficiency with your game? The more novel your game is, the more motivation to have a total instructional exercise. I see this a larger number of times than I truly ought to from non-mainstream engineers. I'll find a game with an interesting idea that hasn't been seen previously, give it a shot, and understand that there's no instructional exercise or direction on the most proficient method to play. The point about normal components is that they permit the player to develop an information base on how things work, and can apply that to learn. At the point when the player has no information base on a framework or plan, it turns out to be limitlessly harder, in the event that's certainly feasible, for them to get familiar with the game all alone. I've played many games where rather than understanding what's happening, I'm simply pressing buttons and watching things occur. In the event that the player can't associate activity, response, then they will always be unable to get familiar with your game. 4. No outside guidance. Our last point is one that I've been bothering for quite a long time. It is terrible plan to anticipate that individuals should need to pass on your game to learn it. I have seen this in structures. For example, the instructional exercise is only YouTube recordings, the game advises you to watch a "we should play," or you need to go this way and that from perusing the instructional exercise in the manual and doing it in-game. You as the game planner ought to be in the best situation to have the option to clarify your game for somebody. It is unfortunate structure to anticipate that your fans should make an aid or instructional exercise for your game and leave it at that. To this end, engineers hold on until the game is finished prior to planning the instructional exercise, so they know all that it takes to play the game and construct the instructional exercise from that. Significance. Each game shows you how to play. Plants vs. Zombies is an intriguing contextual investigation since it made bad to the bone system content open to relaxed and non-gamers. Prior to Plants vs. Zombies, the game business had dishonestly presumed that the easygoing business sector simply wasn't keen on specific game classes. As well as speaking to easygoing gamers, it tried not to distance the veteran gamer crowd. George Fan concedes that there are numerous components working to accomplish this sort of mass allure, yet attributes a large portion of the accomplishment to where he invested the greater part of his energy, how his game introduced learning. The most effective method to make a decent instructional exercise for a game. 1. Blend the instructional exercise into the game. Assuming you give players the choice, they will quite often avoid the instructional exercise. As I clarified in How for Design the first 5 minutes of your game, there are a ton of terrible instructional exercises out there. The gaming crowd would in all probability portray an instructional exercise as that piece of the game before you get to the good times. 2. Better to have the player do than read. There is a compromise among games and text as mediums to pass on data. Text is data thick and simple to make. In any case, it is more enjoyable and vital to get things done. We will be quick to advise you to stay away from games assuming that your substance is more powerful to instruct with another medium. As we have examined in different articles, games will generally be the best answer for profound dominating of a couple of centered ideas. 3. Spread out the educating of the game mechanics. The more a client is locked in and put resources into an encounter, the seriously willing and open they will be to invest energy learning. It is unreasonable, yet assuming you start with an instructional exercise that exhibits the absolute minimum to get everything rolling, then, at that point, persistently and slowly add more information, the experience will be decisively more successful in its instructive objectives. 4. Just get the player to do it once. The pith of this standard is to direct somebody through an activity, subsequently inspiring them to play out the activity interestingly. I don't have a lot to add here other than squinting lights and energized bolts are by a wide margin the most proficient method for conveying activity. Any place fan could, he favored this to message. 5. Use less words. Fan's standard was, there ought to be a limit of 8 words on the screen out of nowhere. Keep in mind, this is guidance for instructional exercise text. Story text is an alternate story. There are various justifications for why curtness is above all else. There is brain science working here, Miller's law, the magical number 7, plus or minus 2. Having clear and succinct text that you can peruse initially forestalls dialing back ongoing interaction. Rules are most straightforward to recollect and they are basic. The more extended the text is, the more outlandish individuals are to understand it. It is a superior encounter to leave the player breadcrumbs and have them feel brilliant when they draw an obvious conclusion, instead of over making sense of and risk disparaging players. Best free PC games. To begin in your excursion to playing the best free PC games, you want simply take a gander at this extremely broad rundown we've assembled. Finding these free download PC games reminded us exactly the way that far the world has come. You truly can get AAA quality games without spending a penny. Here are the top free games for 2022, including Fortnite, League of Legends, Dota 2, Warframe, Hearthstone, Magic the Gathering Arena, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. Number 20. Guild Wars 2. One of the best MMOs available is Guild Wars 2. Even better, a sizable portion of it is available for free to play. There is a lot to do, ranging from standard NPC questing to zone events where everyone can suddenly become engaged and band together to take down a boss or save a community that is on fire. The massive basic game is available for free, and if you decide to buy the Path of Fire expansion, you'll also get the Heart of Thorns expansion for free. Number 19. Splitgate, Arena Warfare. Though Splitgate, Arena Warfare, a stunning fusion of Halo and Portal, is happily free, neither Halo nor Portal are. By including Portal gun physics, it takes everything that is enjoyable about Halo's online combat and amplifies it. Splitgate, an FPS game developed by independent studio 1047 Games, offers a completely unique FPS experience. They've given the old formula so much depth by allowing players to build portals all across the arena. Players that are excellent at thinking outside the box will benefit greatly from the portals, which let you build speedy escape routes or vantage spots. You should try this game if that sounds like your cup of tea. Number 18. Final Fantasy XIV. Fexiv has worked hard to earn its place among the top free PC games. After a terrible launch and several months in recovery mode, Square Enix was able to turn their ambitious Final Fantasy MMO around and create one of the top gaming communities in the process. And yes, even though the full game isn't free, you can spend a significant amount of time playing the free trial version, which stops you at level 60. A Realm Reborn isn't only a fantastic PC game, it also incorporates all the elements that make the Final Fantasy series so well-liked: gorgeous environments, quirky characters, chic cutscenes, and cuddly animals. A significant amount of new material was added in the highly regarded 2019 expansion Shadowbringers, and the most recent expansion has been as well-liked. Number 17. Magic: The Gathering Arena. There are a lot more card game professionals than there used to be because to CCG Titan Hearthstone. Recent adopters of card gaming can move on to titles like Gwent or the Elder Scrolls Legends for themed tweaks and a few new concepts, but if you're looking for a true challenge, Magic: The Gathering Arena is unbeatable. Due to the fact that it is based on a trading card game that has been around since 1993, Wizards of the Coast's most recent digital version of the renowned paper card game is undoubtedly not for the faint of heart. With all of the board animations and sensory delights that we've come to anticipate from contemporary CCGs, Magic: The Gathering Arena does a fantastic job of shedding some of that historical baggage while maintaining the majority of the complexity that makes Magic so remarkable. Number 16. Coursed, FOAD. CRSED, bacon-flavored soda, sincere Spinal Tap fans, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and many other wonderful things began as jokes. This free-to-play battle royale game, formerly known as Cuisine Royale, which requires you to wear pots and pans instead of plate armor, began as a clone of the squad-based MMO shooter Enlisted but quickly developed its own player community. And it's simple to understand why, given that the freedom of being a joke game has allowed developer Dark Flow Software to test out gameplay elements that PUBG wouldn't even dare to contemplate, such as jetpacks, champions, and demonic powers. Number 15. World of Tanks. World of Tanks, one of the most powerful PC tank games ever created, is an approachable and thrilling tank simulator with intricate game mechanics at its core. It competes in a traditional deathmatch between two teams of tankers. From swift scouts to massive heavies, there are hundreds of vehicles to unlock over 10 different tiers. How many tanks wargaming has managed to fit in will amaze you. Number 14. Enlisted. Taking your squad of AI soldiers through some of the most well-known campaigns of World War II, this tactical shooter in the vein of Battlefield prides itself on its historical realism. You'll have access to a variety of aircraft, tanks, and vehicles to aid you in your quest for victory, just like in War Thunder, creator Gaijin's F2P Smash, which are obtained through the unique skill sets of each member of your squad. As the squad commander, it is your responsibility to direct your troops' actions during each combat, but in the unfortunate event that you are hit by a stray bullet, you will immediately switch to the point of view of another member of your division. Undoubtedly a nice answer for those of us who have waited for a teammate with a different set of priorities for far too long while face down in the muck. Number 13. World of Warships. World of Warships is what you need if you like the concept of World of Tanks, but the battlefields aren't quite as wet. The controls are easy to use and friendly while still allowing for interesting tactical options, which introduces the fleet to the idea of deathmatch. World of Warships is more enjoyable than the contemplative naval battles in Total War, unquestionably more approachable than Silent Hunter, and significantly more in-depth than the Pirates titles. If you'll excuse the submariner humor, it's quite deep. Additionally, the World of Warships esports scene is much more thrilling than it should be. Number 12. Forge of Empires. The browser-based realm creation in Forge of Empires might be just what you're looking for if you're itching to develop your managerial abilities while fulfilling your hunger for historical strategy. You'll guide your small colony through a number of classic time eras, starting with a few Stone Age huts and spear-wielding warriors, then developing and constructing your way up to a modern metropolis. In turn-based combat sequences, command your expanding troops to victory. You can also form guilds with other players and conduct groundbreaking research that will carry you into the next century. Number 11. Conqueror's Blade. In Conqueror's Blade, embrace your inner knight as you engage in epic siege warfare. Choose a hero from a variety of medieval classes, then command a tiny battalion of soldiers into seemingly unwinnable sieges. It's crucial to make the greatest use of your siege equipment and issue wise tactical instructions to ensure that your forces emerge triumphant and alive from the 30-player conflicts, since the gameplay alternates between third-person combat and top-down views of the action. Number 10. Doki Literature Club. Welcome to the Literature Club. It's forever been a fantasy of mine to make something uniquely great out of the things I love. Now that you're a club part, you can assist me with making that little glimpse of heaven in this charming game. Consistently is loaded with talk and fun exercises with all of my cute and interesting club individuals. Sayori, the energetic heap of daylight who values bliss the most. Natsuki, the deceivingly adorable young lady who sneaks up all of a sudden. Yuri, the hesitant and secretive one who tracks down solace in the realm of books. Also, obviously, Monica, the head of the club. It's difficult to make sense of what makes Doki Literature Club such a phenomenal visual novel without offering what fixes things such that exceptional. It begins as a standard dating sim set in the verse club of a conventional secondary school, however develops into something undeniably more charming over the long haul, bringing about one of the most significant and high-profile instances of its type anyplace. Number 9. Raid: Shadow Legends. You can now play one of the most incredible known portable RPGs free of charge on PC. Strike's turn-based battle and crew the board require some essential reasoning, even from veterans of the class. The game highlights more than 300 legends for you to gather, each with their own details and abilities to interest, significance you'll need to change and advance your crew to capitalize on your character's assets. You can likewise take the battle online by either collaborating with different players in center, fail, strikes, or overcoming their crew fighting to acquire important prizes. Number 8. Blade and Soul. There are a great deal of MMORPGs to play, each with special style, battle, and legend. Edge and Soul takes you to a dreamland motivated by wuxia fiction and hand-to-hand fighting. It's loaded with prisons and attacks to vanquish, as well areas of strength for us versus player frameworks that urge you to dominate your abilities. In the event that prison creeping isn't your thing, Blade and Soul's Field offers phenomenal PvP activity to slake your cutthroat bloodthirst. Evening out is genuinely simple, as well, so it doesn't take extremely lengthy to get to max level, where the game's substance truly opens up. Sharp Edge and Soul is allowed to play, obviously, however you can alternatively buy new fighter equips, extra person openings, and different things. Number 7, Brawlhalla. Brawlhalla, perhaps propelled by Nintendo's Super Smash Bros. Series, yet the game highlights a couple cool bends that give it exceptional flavor. This battling game allows you to knuckle up in 4-player cutthroat matches, with the object of thumping your rival off the stage to score focuses. Like Samurai Showdown, Brawlhalla is a weapons-based undertaking, so every one of the 40 warriors has an assigned arrangement of weapons they can use during a match. These weapons haphazardly downpour onto stages and supplement your moveset. Brawlhalla has a week-after-week turn of playable characters, yet you can buy top picks involving in-game money. Surprisingly better, Brawlhalla has cross-stage play among PC and Control Center, so you'll constantly track down a match. Number 6, Dauntless. Beast Hunter World has made an enormous basic and business influence, so it's no shock to see games that are motivated by Capcom series. Bold is one such title. Bold sets you in opposition to horrible behemoths in a dystopian dream setting. It very well may be played in single-player or multiplayer modes, with up to 4 individuals hacking at a monster's shins. Different battle classes keep the battling intriguing. As an allowed-to-play game, Dauntless won't cost you a dime. Except if you have any desire to apply a cool skin to your characters or weapons. Number 5, Eggnog Plus. Eggnog Plus, a cutthroat arcade round of immortals sword battling until the very end. Wound one another, fling and kick back your blades off of the walls and roofs, take part in pugilism, get around spike pits to make it past your timeless enemy and arrive at the most distant finish of the peculiar complex. Fling yourself victoriously, lastly, into the eggnog. Incorporates procedurally produced byte beat tunes that you can alter live, and furthermore make extra melodies. The Nidhogg games are unbelievable tomfoolery, yet if you would rather not plunk down the money to play them, Eggnog Plus is an incredible allowed-to-play elective. Like Nidhogg, Eggnog Plus sees you conflict with a rival in sword duels as you rush to the contrary side of the guide. You can involve your weapon as a shot, as well as a scuffle device. Furthermore, Eggnog Plus highlights retro-style visuals that give the game a lot of outdated appeal as you repel and push. Number 4, Roblox. Some time ago, it could have been not difficult to discount Roblox as another blocky children game simply ripping off Minecraft. Besides the fact that those days since a long time ago elapsed that analysis is currently completely mistaken. As well, just like a multi-billion-dollar title attracting a huge number of players consistently, Roblox is gradually turning into an inexorably regarded game improvement instrument. The most high-profile model is VVVVVV maker Terry Kavanaugh's new raid onto the stage, yet a setup of makers has been utilizing its instruments, and making a good pay from them, for a really long time. As the consideration proposed to it develops, Roblox's own improvement could be captivating to be a piece of. Number 3, Genshin Impact. One of the greatest breakout hits of 2020, a sensible brief presentation for Genshin Impact could depict it as anime Breath of the Wild, yet that is a long way from the whole picture. Its 4-player battle allows you to turn between characters on the fly, utilizing their natural wizardry to pull off insane combos. During free time, you can investigate the monstrous open universe of Teyvat, climbing, floating, and swimming to open its numerous mysteries. The gacha-style way to deal with microtransactions will not be famous with everybody, except it doesn't prevent Genshin from being one of the most aggressive allowed-to-play titles on this rundown. Number 2, RuneScape. In addition to a remnant of the mid-noughties, RuneScape is as yet flourishing, with both a cutting-edge variant and an old-school elective for those of you actually craving for bygone times of pre-2007. The two games offer lots of free happy spread across their gigantic universes, however you'll gain admittance to significantly more through a paid membership. Fortunately, RuneScape makes its participations accessible with in-game money, so in the event that you're ready to sink some serious time into another MMO, This is an extraordinary method for doing as such free of charge while dominating abilities from petition to fishing, and taking on enemies from humble trolls to immense, world-finishing monsters. Number 1. War Thunder. War Thunder is the most exhaustive allowed to play, cross-stage, MMO military game devoted to avionics, shielded vehicles, from the mid-20th 100 years to the most developed present-day battle units. Join now and partake in significant fights ashore, in the air, and adrift, battling with a huge number of players from everywhere the world in a consistently developing climate. In War Thunder, airplane, assault helicopters, ground powers and maritime boats team up in practical serious fights. You can browse more than 2,000 vehicles and a broad assortment of battle circumstances, large numbers of which are selective. You don't need to find a gathering of similar flying lovers on a message load up and join their virtual unit to appreciate War Thunder. You don't need to pick either authenticity or openness, all things considered. This enormously multiplayer WW2 battle game easily includes the blasts as a whole and energy that planes and tanks are equipped for creating. Not certain where to begin? Our War Thunder tips will assist with pointing your tank's cannon in the correct course. Assuming you're searching for war games that put you in a mess, then War Thunder is for you. What do you think about this video? Do let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.